What's going on YouTube? FuzzyLogic here, bringing you another Vanilla WoW video. So Vanilla WoW raiding is a very controversial subject, as the WoW community as a whole has very mixed feelings about it. But why is this exactly? Well, this all comes down to differences to the raiding formula back in Vanilla compared to retail WoW today. WoW is geared towards a more flexible community nowadays. It's a game that caters for an audience that want to sink hundreds of hours a month into it, as well as an audience who can only afford a few hours a week. When specifically talking about raiding though, this translates to Raid Finder, where you can simply sign up for a queue and join a random group within minutes to experience a dumbed down version of the raiding content. And then there are three key difficulties of raiding: normal, heroic, and mythic, which again cater to a range of player skill levels and allow people to play the game however they want to. Back in Vanilla WoW however, there were no difficulty tiers. Raiding was one difficulty and required a set number of players to complete. Blizzard wanted raiding to feel challenging and impressively large scale when players got to experience it for the first time. Raiding was also more challenging back in the day, with only 23 US guilds clearing the entirety of Vanilla WoW raid content. But why was it so challenging, and why did so little guilds actually complete all of the content? Let's first take a look at the number of players required to raid back in Vanilla. Vanilla WoW consisted of 10, 20 and 40-man raids. Yes, 40-man raids were a thing back in the day. And for those of you who didn't know, that probably sounds pretty awesome. Carbine Studios certainly thought so when they developed the fairly recent MMO WildStar. In fact, one of its key selling points was the fact that it was bringing back this epic scale of raiding. However, 40-man raids do have their issues. First of all, 40 players is a lot of people to coordinate, and even succeeding in getting that many people to log in at the same time and get on voice comms was a challenge. You would likely end up wiping on a boss only to discover that half of your guild weren't even on voice comms and had no idea what was going on or what your raid leader had been talking about for the last 30 minutes. Try making 40 people concentrate on anything for a full 3 to 4 hours. It is definitely not easy. With so many players, loot was also an issue. It was a stretch to share out loot amongst 40 players, as on average a raid boss would drop 3 to 5 pieces of loot which needed to be dished out amongst all of those people. Bearing in mind the 40 people raiding at the time likely didn't include every member in the guild. There were probably around 60 players in total in your guild that needed to be geared. This obviously took a great deal of time and a whole lot of farming raids. As a guild, you needed to ensure that everyone was geared for the content you were currently clearing, meanwhile trying to ensure that you kept everyone in the guild happy so that they stuck around. If people left the guild, you would find yourself recruiting and gearing up new players just to continue where you left off. Due to the linear raid path, you needed to have obtained gear from the previous tier in order to be suitable for the next one. For example, to raid MC, you needed full pre-raid best in slot gear. To raid AQ, you needed gear from Blackwing Lair, and so on. Gearing an entire guild was extremely time consuming. Keeping everyone happy was also a challenge, as everyone who has ever raided in a game knows that the more players in a raid, the more chance of people screwing up, or the more chance players will rage. Boss mechanics were a lot simpler back in Vanilla compared to retail nowadays, and with continued mistakes by the same players, tensions would rise.
That's a fucking 50 DKP minus! What the fuck was that shit?
This would often result in players leaving guilds. If a large number of players left a guild, it probably would have disbanded due to the time investment that would have been required to replace all of those members. Guilds would therefore be forced to try and recruit or steal players from other guilds who had progressed as far as them to avoid these lengthy delays in progress. Another aspect of vanilla raiding was the requirement for every member of your raid to complete attunement quests in order to enter specific raid instances. Long quest chains needed to be completed in order for them to participate. For example, you needed to run BRD to get attuned to Molten Core, for Onyxia you needed to run up a Blackrock Spire a few times, and so on. The attunement feature was not so popular with everyone, as it was simply another thing to worry about on top of having 40 geared and ready raid members. Not to mention the fact that all of those raid members were also expected to farm consumables, including food, pots, flasks, and other items outside of raid time. Back in Vanilla, there were a lot of grindy features to raiding which took up a large amount of players' time.
30 levels?
Yes. 65,340,285. Which should take us 7 weeks, 5 days, 13 hours, and 20 minutes, giving ourselves 3 hours a night to sleep. What do you say, guys? You can just hang outside in the sun all day tossing a ball around. Or you can sit at your computer and do something that matters.
Along with the difficulty, you might start to see why such a small proportion of players actually cleared all the content. So what made 40-man raiding so awesome? Well, everyone who has ever raided also knows that killing a boss can feel great, and hearing the screams of your guild echo through your speakers as you finally complete the raid that you've been wiping on for months is an awesome experience. Having 40 people in voice comms simply adds to the epicness of this, with the sound of 40 voices deafening you with cries of joy.
Oh, here comes the pain, bitch! Pop.
I personally feel that the amount of fun I've had raiding in WoW has been unmatched by any other game I've ever played. The sense of community that is built within a guild is amazing, and with 40 people all communicating at the same time to achieve a common goal, it's simply epic. With such a large community of players working together, it allows for many more friendships to be made within a game that promoted teamwork and group content from start to finish. Vanilla WoW raiding may not have appealed to everyone, however, it surely was a remarkable experience at the time. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. As always, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and for more content, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.